Good, happy Friday evening, April 24, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday evening, so let's begin. First up, let's take a look at your COVID-19 in New Hampshire information, what you need to know. Let's take a look at those numbers. And here's a look at those COVID-19 information numbers, what you need to know. 1,670 number of people in New Hampshire have been tested positive for COVID-19. 856,209 number of people in the United States who have tested positive. 51 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 218 number of people who have been hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And 47,272 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. This map of New Hampshire right here shows you where cases of COVID-19 are in towns and cities of New Hampshire. In Manchester, 348 cases of COVID-19. In this chart right here, new cases each day in New Hampshire in the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, new hospitalizations, and in the red are the deaths. Why don't the numbers add up? And here is why right here. And this chart here shows you the current cases of COVID-19. Total current COVID-19 cases and current hospitalizations. And totals. Total positive COVID-19 cases, total hospitalizations, deaths, and recovered. And this chart here shows you people that got COVID-19 by age groups. And then by female and male, and risk information. In this chart here, race slash entity of cases and percent of populations. Your common symptoms: fever, lack of smell, cough, and difficult breathing. How it spreads, and prevention tips. And be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. Officials shut down several White Mountain National Forest trailheads. Officials cite unseasonably high number of visitors to forest, raising potential for spread of COVID-19. Take a look at this photo right here. This photo right here of trailheads and facilities that will be closed starting Friday by the White Mountain National Forest. The U.S. Forest Service shut down several White Mountain National Forest trailheads and recreational sites until further notice Friday in an effort to slow the spread of the novel coronavirus disease, COVID-19. Forest officials said there recently has been unseasonably high numbers of visitors, which could result in the increase in chance for exposure of COVID-19. The trailheads, day use areas, and recreational Facilities were closed to ensure visitors and staff members can properly follow guidelines from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention for social distancing. Closing these areas will allow the forest to assess our ability to do our work safely, reduce the number of vehicles and congestion at trailheads, help control vandalism, and to meet CDC guidance and cleaning standards, forest officials said. Parking at the trailheads and on most roads is prohibited through visitors who can walk to the trailheads are able to use them, officials said. With highs in the 50s and 60s likely on Saturday with sunny conditions, many were expected to visit the forest trails. As warm weather approaches, the forest continues to see increased visitation at recreation sites, trailheads, and trails. It is difficult to practice physical distancing and maintaining high-use sites to CDC guidelines. The safety of the Forest Service employees, our visitors, and local communities is priority as we operate in the new COVID-19 environment, said Acting Forest Supervisor on the White Mountain National Forest, said in a news release. Anyone needing information, permits, and maps was encouraged by forest officials to call Forest Headquarters at 603-536-6100. The Saco Ranger Station at 603-447-5448, or the Androscoggin Ranger Station at 603-466-2713 during regular business hours. View this USDA interactive map to see what trailheads and recreational facilities will be closed after clicking the link. Scroll to the map and interact with an icon to learn more. You can interact with the button to see the map and things. And we will put that article up on the Riley King Network Facebook page right after this broadcast, so you can see that interactive map and see what areas are closed and things. COVID-19's numbers will determine when restrictions are lifted, Baker says. Let's take a listen to that video from WCVB Boston.
Right now, you're on a path. You are on your way to something. And everywhere the signs to the destination you dream of are revealing themselves to you. They are there. On your way to work, in your social feed, at the grocery store on aisle 9. Scattered across the canvas of our days is the map to your destiny. You just need to make the connection. California Psychics is your home for top-rated advisors who can guide you on your journey. We're ready to connect, and we know you are too. Open a new account to get a reading for only $1 per minute.
Right, not just yet. He's saying it's just too soon right now. His stay-at-home advisory and his closure of non-essential businesses is set to expire in less than 2 weeks. Right now, the governor says Massachusetts is at the peak of the pandemic. His stay-at-home advisory and closure of non-essential businesses expires May 4th. He says it's too soon to say what's next, adding he wants to see first what the trend data shows.
Until we start to see some of that kind of information, the peaking of the surge and the move in the other direction for some sustained period of time, we're not going to be interested in reopening anything.
Also, as we first told you about yesterday, Public Health Commissioner Dr. Monica Burrell has recovered from COVID-19. Today, she was front and center at the governor's daily briefing, saying she was thankful to be feeling better. The governor says he'd like to see a reduction in the number of hospitalizations or positive cases for a significant number of days before making any decisions about that advisory in that order. We're live at the State House. Charmin Sacchetti, WCVB News Center.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. 3 new coronavirus-related deaths reported in Maine. Nearly 500 Mainers have recovered. The Maine Center for Disease Control and Prevention reported 3 new coronavirus-related deaths on Friday. A total of 47 Mainers have now died of the virus. The 3 new deaths were a man in his 60s from York County, a woman in her 90s from Kennebunk County, and a man in his 70s from Cumberland County. The Maine CDC website reported that cases rose to 965, which is an increased cases compared to Thursday. And now let's take a look at your U.S. stock market and see how your U.S. stock market closed for this evening. And here's a look at that U.S. stock market for all of you. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green, went up. Your Nasdaq closed in the green, went up. S&P 500 closed in the green, went up. Gold closed in the green, went up. Oil closed in the green, went up. U.S. 10-year closed flat. Eurostat USD closed in the green, went up. And VIX closed in the red and went down. Dow jumps more than 200 points as oil extends rebound, but posts first weekly losses in 3 days. Stocks rose on Friday as oil prices clawed back even more of their historic losses from earlier in the week, while investors weighed the perspective of a potential coronavirus treatment from Gilead Sciences. Navy's top admiral recommends restraining captain fired over virus warning. The Navy's top admiral has recommended that Captain Brett Kosher should be restrained as commanding officer of the aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt, weeks after he was fired by the Navy's former acting secretary, a U.S. official said Friday. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for watching this evening edition. Have a great rest of your Friday evening. And I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night and bye, everyone.